Hello, everyone who's joining us on this Facebook Live. Happy Saturday. It's 2 p.m. here in Los Angeles. And a little bit about, first, my name is Nagham, and I'm from Creators Connect. Creators Connect is a space for creatives to get educational services, coaching, networking opportunities, and production support. And we're hosting this Q&A with the Asian World Film Festival, a festival that brings movies from the Asian world and even diverse movies from here to showcase it in Culver City. This year, unfortunately, we have our screenings virtual, but it's still good and we're still meeting everybody. And then with us today are the creators of Tiny Laughs, a series that premiered in January, right? Like before COVID, they had a big premiere party and then everything shut down. So Laura and Rukshan, thank you for being with us today. And if you can introduce yourself a little bit and Tiny Laughs.
Yeah, sure. Laura, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Laura Rivas. I'm the writer, director, executive producer of Tiny Laughs, along with Rukshan, writer and producer of Tiny Laughs. And yeah, we're just excited to be here. And Tiny Laughs is about a queer Latina architect trying to get a job promotion. And she goes to an improv class, and that's where she meets her love interest, who's an Asian American accountant who is trying to pursue comedy and stand-up.
And yeah, Laura and I are both, we grew up in LA, and we had a lot of experiences before joining the entertainment industry. And we really wanted to create something that was really centric to who we were as people and what it was like to be the kids of immigrants and kind of pursue a dream or a goal that's, outside of what your parents or your community expects you to do.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here again.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And congrats on creating Tiny Laughs. It's really hard to create something from scratch, like bringing it together. There's a lot of work goes behind the scenes before people see the final project. So congrats on making it happen, and it's easy to have ideas, but to make it happen and create something, kudos to both of you. So let me start with asking you, how did Tiny Laughs, how did the idea start? How did it come to be? Like a little bit of background on how it became Tiny Laughs.
Definitely, yeah. So me and Rukshan have known each other for 7 years now, and we met in a TV diversity program. And from there, I worked at NBC, he worked at ABC, and then we ended up in another company. And after a while, doing the corporate thing, we're like, you know what, let's do something together, I'm so sick and tired of people telling me, no, you can't do that. Like, you're concentrated in marketing, like, no. And then, as we mentioned, we're LA natives. So I was just like, you know what, I don't care. I'm gonna move back with my parents, put 6 months of my own savings. I worked a lot of hours, so might as well put those hours to good use. And yeah, we just sat down for 6 months and started writing and just developing the characters in the world. And I had a very specific goal that was like, okay, by 2017, we're going to shoot this. And we did. And then we had all of 2018 in post-production. In 2019, a little bit of post-production, but I also again, this is our debut as writers and directors, and I wanted to make it as authentic but as our vision, basically, right? And I met with a friend who's a music supervisor, and I was like, oh, I need your help to bring in more Latinx musicians, and she's like, I got you. And so we worked on that for a couple of months too. And yeah, finally 2020, we premiered, and we had about 100 people, friends, family, industry people show up for the premiere party, and it was great.
Yeah. So, and I just wanted to add in just a little bit more the context to it. Laura came to me about creating something of our own when she had a meeting, she had her annual meeting with her boss, and her boss was basically just like, we don't see any growth for you in this department. So just, like kind of look at your options. And then Laura was like, you know what, forget it. Like I remember she came to me after that meeting. She's like, Rukshan, let's go get coffee. And during that walk, Laura was just like, like there's like, people are holding me back as, as a woman and as a person of color. Like, let's do something of our own. I know that you're also, like trying to come up as a writer. Like, so let's put our collective minds together. Laura wants to be a director. And when you kind of look at the landscape, even right now, there's not that many female Latina directors. And, it's really hard to, move up in this industry when A, you don't see yourself, and B, when there's so many people just kind of just telling you no, either to your face or within like the construct of the industry that you're working in. So, Laura took a really brave step, and like I always tell her, like if we hadn't taken the time to do this, if we hadn't like taken a chance on ourselves, we still would not have had something at this point. Like I think it's like to be naive and brave and really, ballsy, I think is like so powerful. So yeah.
I get it from my dad.
This is a very though important point, because with not seeing yourself or waiting for an opportunity
Right.
for somebody to include you, rather than doing that, like just creating your own opportunity and creating. And yes, it is ballsy and it takes a lot, but I mean, we have to do it at some point. Somebody has to do it. So I'm glad she had that idea, and I'm glad you said yes to it, because now we have Tiny Laughs to watch, and we don't know where it can even go. And I'm pretty sure somebody is out there, maybe having that experience too, having a full-time job, but like have a creative goal, and maybe it will inspire them to just take that leap and do it. There's a few things you said. So it started, you said, the idea came to be in 2017.
Yeah.
So it took 3, right? 18, 19, 20, like 3 years. How was that? Did it evolve? Did the idea change with time? Like when you first started, you're like, okay, I have this idea. Did it change as you start working on it to become what it is right now? Or was it from the beginning, like that was the vision from the beginning?
That was the vision from the beginning. Like the storyline did not change. It was just the way to craft it. And so with, the limited resources that we had, but the experience that we also had working for networks and studios, we knew what a TV show takes to make, right? And again, I took my time to be as creative as possible, because I self-financed it. So I was like, okay, this is it. This is like how I can show the world what I'm made of, both of us. And so we both took our time to really analyze how the show was gonna be finalized. And I'm so happy we took the time, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, Laura, I love it. And like, I know where that is and stuff, like, since we shot it in LA where I grew up, and like Boyle Heights. And so, yeah, so I'm happy that it turned out the way it did.
And I heard you say that both of you were immigrants, but LA natives, and like you had a lot in common to come together to do this. So was that the driving force for this, or was there anything else that also drove it in the moments where you're like, I don't know if this is gonna even work? What kept you going? What kept the fire? What drove this?
Laura and I, we came through a diversity program into this industry. So it's like you're kind of taught from the jump that, like you've got to like make every opportunity count, make your own opportunities, and like you have to be, twice as good in order to be looked at as somewhat of an equal. And it's like, it was crazy to go into an industry where it's kind of like this boys club that, like I think a lot of stuff is shifting in the industry for the better. Like I think there's like, so much new blood coming in, and like people are changing their perspectives. But when we got in, it was kind of just like, oh, okay, like it really is about, kind of finding your way to the top, and, like maneuvering yourself in this way that can get you to where you want to go. And I think Laura and I both were like, okay, we're hungry, we can do this. And then just after a while, it was just like, when you kind of don't see yourself moving as fast as you want to, it becomes like, okay, well, I have to take it upon myself to do it. And so I think that was our driving force. It's like, okay, we started this, we have to finish it. And I think there's a certain point after we started shooting, like there was no going back. So we were just like, okay, we got to finish. It took a long time, like you said, because we had basically whittled down our budget by the time we got to post-production, which was like, for future filmmakers, don't forget about post-production. Like that is like the biggest thing that we learned as well. It's like, we have to make sure that your filmmaking journey doesn't end after production. I think that was the biggest lesson. It's like we had to like really put in money and find people to make our post-production work. So yeah, that was our driving force. Like just get it done.
No, and I think 3 years is not that long. Like it's reasonable. Like some movies take way more years even to come from concept to creation. What about you, Laura? Did you have another, like a personal driving force, or other than the things you already mentioned?
I just really wanted, I've always accomplished my goals. And, I always tell people in my bio, like, expect the unexpected, because I'm 5'2", I'm Latina, and like, so people don't really expect a lot of me. And that's sad to say, but that's the reality that I've lived here, and especially in the industry. And so I was like, I'll show you, don't worry, like keep on talking all you want, but I'll show you what I'm made of. And yeah, that was my driving force when, especially there's a time in post-production where I was just like, oh my God, I need a break, because like I can edit as well. But I'm really glad we made the decision to talk to different editors so they can edit that and edit the episodes. Yeah, because you can't do everything as a filmmaker. You have to. It's a very collaborative industry, and so. But lesson learned.
Yeah.
And now I have more Like I was part of the official Latino Film Festival, and I met great filmmakers. And since it was targeted to Latinos, a lot of the filmmakers grew up in the same city as I did, and I never knew them. And now they're like, Laura, season 2, I'm there. I'm gonna help you.
That's amazing. Was there, speaking about like filmmakers and the team, and it's a collaborative effort, how did the process of bringing the team together? So I know you two were at the beginning, right? So how did it happen? Like, just let us know how the process went. How did you pick your team? How did you cast? What were some factors that you took into consideration?
Sure. So I'll tell you about casting, because I did my own casting. And I'm glad I did my own casting, to be honest, because I knew the characters inside out. And I was shocked to learn that there wasn't a lot of Latinas that were anywhere. I couldn't find their work. And luckily I went to college at CSUN, and I had a friend who was an actress. She's like, oh, go to this website and there should be non-union actors. And yeah, it was, I finally found an actress that I knew was Valentina. And one of the things too that I noticed in these casting websites, even Latinas, they were primarily like light-skinned. And there's a variety of colors in the Latino community. Right. And so when I saw her reel, she had like 5 different projects. I just knew. But the problem with the casting there was that this website only allowed you to email them through their system, so you're not really connecting with them. And she never got back to me. And I was like, oh my God, we're a month away. Like, I know that's her. And so she had her social media. And so I DM'd her. And I was just like, hey, I've seen your work. I know what you're capable of. I want you to be the lead for my series. And she's like, send me the script. And I did. She loved it. And we talked a bunch of times, every time for like more than 2 hours. And we both have faith. And we met the first date that we shot.
Wow. That's amazing.
Right.
You wanted to say something, Rukshan?
Oh, I was also going to add that I think Laura, you also mentioned that when you had reached out to her, she was kind of also considering not act, like she was kind of like about to hang up her acting,
Yeah.
So I think you brought her back into the world of acting again.
That's amazing. And Rukshan, I know you helped in writing it. Were you involved in the process after as well? Like, did you have a say with the cast, with the team?
Yeah, definitely. Laura would always show me like the people that she was auditioning, and would have me be like, what do you think about this person for this character? And with working with like finding down our final cast, when it came to the main character of James, she basically auditioned quite a few people, and when we came upon James Haley, I mean, he was just like the right person. Like, we just knew straight away that he understood it, because he basically told us, "This is my life." He's like, "I was also working in this 9 to 5 corporate job, and I quit just to pursue my dreams." And that's like goes against everything that um, the Asian culture really stands for. So he's like, "I totally get this character." And as soon as he hit the set, as soon as we started rolling, he was that character, and we just all of our cast really just breathed like this new life into our words. And it's amazing to hear how each character can take dialogue and really make it their own, and how they put the emphasis on words and stuff like that. We were just like, all right, this is amazing. We got this team that can shoot really fast, and and have like really resounding what do you call it, resounding portrayals of these characters. So yeah.
Yeah, from an audience perspective, I think from my experience watching it, like the characters were so real. Like I can tell, like I can see the main character. I'm like, yeah, I have 3 friends like that, 2 friends like that. It was so real, and there wasn't even the struggles, what they're going through, their thoughts, and the hesitation sometimes on taking on your dream or quitting your job, or what are you supposed to do. It's very real. It's a good job with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there any difficulties that you faced in the process? I heard like the budget, you said you used your savings, Laura?
Yeah, I put 6 months of my own savings to buy the equipment. We still rented out a couple of audio equipment. We also rented out 2 venues, but luckily I used my sister's house as one of the main venues.
Right.
And then, like I said, we wanted to make it as local as possible. And I found this cool cafe in the city where I grew up. I grew up in Southgate.
Right.
And I went up to the owner and I said, "Oh, my friend said this is a great place. And can I film here? I grew up here." And he's like, "No, don't worry. You don't have to pay me anything. I understand the artist struggle. Like, you can film for free." And we ended up shooting 3 different days there. So I really appreciate Daniel from El Salito Cafe.
Yeah. And we made sure that we bought as much coffee as possible for our cast and crew.
Yeah.
as a thank you.
Yeah. No, that's nice too. That the community you sometimes come together and help in a way or another, but still it's a big risk to put all your saving in it. Like you really, from what I'm hearing, is like you really believed in this, that you put everything on the line, and sometimes it takes putting everything on the line to create something amazing. Was there any difficulties during production that you faced during filming, or any challenges?
Everything. Low budget, and we only had 2 months. No, not even 2 months. I would say like 3 weekends.
Wow.
To
Yeah,
really
it was
shoot
basically
it.
like over a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, like you said, we took a risk, and that's the time that we had. So we had to make it happen, and we did. And we're very grateful to the cast and crew for always being up for early mornings and late nights, and just, shooting everything we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. What were some of the learnings you guys had during this process?
I mean, you could always tighten things up in pre-production.
Right.
But again, lesson learned. And season 2 is gonna be a lot tighter and just better and bigger. And so we're.
Yeah, I think it was a great it was a great way to learn how to be efficient as a small team. Like, we were really a skeleton crew. So like after like the first day, we kind of all got a feel for each other, and then we just realized how the best way we all work. So I think even if there were bumps on the road along the way, we just like quickly just like maneuvered. And when you're in indie film, it's like everyone wears multiple hats. So, you know, I was getting coffee, I was doing script coordinating, I was doing like the clapper, like I was doing everything possible just to make sure that, you know, like my cast and my crew were like well taken care of and as well as possible. And, you know, whatever needs they had, we would make sure we had them. And, you know, yeah, you're doing like 3 different things. You know, you're texting like the location to your next spot, and then while you're ordering coffee as well, and then going to grabbing lunch. Like it's you know, the world of indie film. And we did it during the end of that 2017, so it was really cold too. So yeah, it was a fun journey, but very it was
Doing
hectic for
whatever it
sure.
takes.
Yeah, doing whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And going back to the writing process before I move on to what's next, how was the writing process, like developing the characters, or when you wrote things, did you do like readings to get feedback? Like how was it? How was the process?
Well, I remember when, you know, Laura approached us and she's like, you know, let's you know, like build a show or a series about, you know, like kind of like based on our struggles and stuff. So we already had kind of like two lead characters that would meet and kind of go across this journey in LA. And what we did is like we workshopped the entire the characters and the season arc for about 3 months. Like over that summer, we met at a coffee shop and we just like, you know, sat there, and it was a really nice spot in a T-pop in North Hollywood. And, you know, it's very open. And so we were able to sit down for like every day after work and just like kind of like come up with the outlines and like what the characters were going to sound like and what they were going to go through during the season. And so we kept, you know, working them and polishing them until we had something really good. And then we sent them out to people we wanted feedback from. And so once we got that set of rewrites done, we just were like, okay, I think we're ready. We're ready to shoot. And of course, during production as well, you find lines that don't really match what the characters going through, what their personalities. And, you know, and the actors are really good too, actually. They'd be like, I don't feel like they would put that in this, you know, this scene. I'm like, you know what, you're absolutely right. Like, or, you know, no, actually, no, can we have this line or do another version of the same take? So yeah, it's a continual process.
Yeah. No, and
Even
that's amazing that
before
you had.
production, yeah.
It's amazing that you had like a collaborative feel with everybody and open discussions about stuff. I think it elevates when everybody, and sometimes, yeah, you can go with the actors that it doesn't match. You can discuss with them, you can convince them. Sometimes you're like, no, that's the sentence that you need to say. But the fact that the discussion, sometimes it adds value in a way.
And also to add to that, because a lot of our characters and the people that are in some episodes are also stand-up comics, which means that they're also writers of their own jokes. They approached me, both James and a few of the other guest stars, and they're like, hey, you know, like I have my own stand-up material. Would you be, you know, can I say that instead? I'm like, you know what? If we can give you the opportunity to showcase your talents and your writing abilities for these scenes, I would go ahead. So a lot of the stand-up comics, the stand-up material that they're doing is their own material that they've written. So I was just like, that was really cool that they came with their own ideas of like what they wanted to say in their performances as well. So that was really cool.
And I think it's like, because it is a stand-up scene event, it was okay to do that, you know, and bring their own, and those scenes were good and funny.
Exactly. I was like, okay.
Awesome. So where is it screening now somewhere? I know that with our festival at the Asian World Film Festival, there's a screening, and it's in the link on the event. Check it for a certain period of time. But is it somewhere else for after, or what are your plans to do with it?
Yeah, people can watch it right now on Revry TV, REVRY.TV. Yeah, you can watch the first 2 episodes for free, and then you have to sign up. But you could get a 7-day free trial and watch all 5 episodes. And support independent filmmakers. We need all your help.
Somebody who hasn't watched it now, and I'm going to ask both of you to answer that. Like, how, if you want to say it to somebody or pitch it to somebody right now in a short description, what is Tiny Laughs? Like, what would you say?
Go ahead, Laura. You've done this like 200 times now. You know, it's amazing because we go back and forth of like talking about what the elevator pitch is and what like, you know, like our little like 2 sentences of what our series is. So, and Laura's got it like down.
It's, you know, real life dating, comedy. Just if you think about Insecure meets Rami, that's our web series.
That's an amazing description. Insecure meets comedy.
Yeah.
What about you, Rukshan? Do you want to give it a try?
Yeah, of course. So it's about, you know, two dreamers in one of the most competitive cities in the world, trying to make their dreams come true. And it's from the perspective of, you know, Asian immigrant and Latino, Latinx, you know, immigrant children and what they're experiencing as, you know, trying to pursue these opportunities that are told that we're able to access within a very competitive and powerful world. You know, it's like it's there's so much power in owning your own journeys, and so we hope that viewers get that experience when they watch it.
Yeah, and especially, you know, as children of immigrants, like we were raised to believe in the American dream, and when we got out there in the world, it's like, whoa, the American dream wasn't like you said, you know. So
awesome. So what do you expect from your viewers or audience? What do you want them to get?
to believe in themselves, there's too much hate towards one another, you know, as POCs. And I was very fortunate enough that in my elementary school, I didn't learn English until I was 8. All my teachers were also Mexican Americans, first generation, so they had us teaching. They were teaching us Spanish, and then when I was 8, I think the governor of California was like, "No, you have to learn completely in English." And I had a really great teacher who was very strict. But looking back now, she was one of the best teachers because she really pushed me hard to learn Spanish and English at the same time. And so I guess that's what I want from my viewers, to believe in these two characters and see themselves and know that they can achieve whatever they want to.
Yeah, I echo everything that she just said. Yeah, to see themselves really, and just, you know, like, and for us being filmmakers, looking back at what we create, looking at the first season, we're just like, wow, we've just, you know, we've evolved so much. And I hope that people can see like, hey, they did it, we can do it. And this is like a reflection of like what we're going through, which I'm sure connects to so many, especially, you know, the Asian community, like where it's like, I feel like the Asian community now is already is starting to see that, oh wow, so people can actually make a living for themselves, not being doctors, engineers, or lawyers, or, you know, scientists. It's like, oh yeah, you know, like give your kids and give people around you a chance to also, you know, kind of experience another a dream for themselves.
Yeah.
But then,
I think it's a theme for most people of color cultures. What I wanted to ask, I know you did the premiere and you had an event, right? And people came and you said many people showed up. How was the reaction? Was it what you expected it? Like what was the feedback from, were you watching the movie or were you watching the people watching?
I was watching the people. We were both like super nervous. We want to thank again Club TG at Atwater Village. They were really, really amazing. But yeah, I was right next to Brisa Covarrubias, who is Valentina in the series, and I was just like close to her. I was like, oh my god, people are laughing, yay!
Yeah, it was so it was more than I expected, to be honest. Like, because I was just like Laura said, so nervous. Like, okay, like, are people gonna laugh? Are people gonna love this? Like, how are they gonna feel? If, you know, like, it would have been the most awkward thing to go and like when the punchline hits, no one laughs. Like that, I was like, you know, like in the moment, like, oh my god, please let it be a good reaction. And oh my god, people were laughing from beginning to end. So I was just like, and they laughed at things that, you know, like, I think because we had seen it so many times, like we had written those jokes, so we had like, okay, like whatever. But then when we see other people actually laughing for the first time at things that, like also the subtle right. turns, like it was great. Like we were just like, oh my gosh, best night ever.
I think it's always like a different and unique experience the first time the audience see it, and usually also in festivals when you take it and tour it, like seeing the different reactions from different festival audiences in different cities, and some people get this joke and some people get the other joke, and it's just like interesting to watch. And speaking about festivals, so you said you've been I think Laura was telling me before we went live that you've been to many festivals throughout the year, right? Was it all virtual? How has it been? How has the experience been?
Yeah, it's all been virtual, unfortunately, but you know, with COVID. But no, it's been a great experience. And next year, the first festival we're gonna be in is the online web series festival in London. I was just like, wow, okay, cool. I love you, British people.
That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we were part of Queer X this year, which is touted as the queer Southeast by Southwest, and we were part of the official Latino Film Festival, which was amazing too. And yeah, those are some of our big highlights, along with, of course, Asian World Film Festival. We cannot leave it out. So like this is like our last stop in 2020, but
Awesome.
yeah, we've had
the best for last.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you for being here today. And before we wrap, like I wanted to ask you for a message. What's like a message or advice or anything you wanted to share as we wrap this with whoever's watching or whoever's going to see the series?
Yeah, I would just say invest in yourself. Always believe in yourself when nobody believes in you.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. I was gonna say, if you want to make a change, start with doing something that you can do yourself, and you will realize, just like that we did, there are people out there who are willing to give you some sort of help, whether it be, like monetary, like with equipment, or just, like a kind word, or like a person that they can connect you to. Like there's so many people out there who want to see you succeed as opposed to not. So I think that's the biggest thing that we've gotten out of 2020.
And one thing I want to add is, as filmmakers, support other filmmakers too. Always shout out your fellow filmmakers.
Right, that's very important, because it's about creating, but it's also about supporting others and being there, watching their stuff, regardless if it's good, like just being there for each other, especially as people of color artists.
Yes.
And for the future, so is there a series 2 coming?
We're working on it. Yeah, definitely pushing.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a season 2. We were going to shoot sometime this summer, but obviously that didn't happen because of COVID. But yeah, hopefully in 2021, when we're allowed to shoot with smaller budgets, but still expand our storylines and have a richer storytelling. Yeah, it should. We're fingers crossed it's gonna happen. So
yeah, we're talking to producers. So we'll.
Awesome. Well, best wishes with that, and good, and looking forward to watching season 2. And thank you again for being here with us, and for your answers, and for the messages. And we're super proud of you, of course.
Thank you.
And good luck with everything in the future.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one. Thanks everybody who's watching. Check out the link to watch Tiny Laughs on Asian World Film Festival, and of course check Asian World Film Festival page for other Q&As and screenings that are happening online. And
the lineup is amazing.
Yeah, great lineup coming soon. All right, thank you. Have a good day, everybody.